Breath of Life is the absolute worst item in the history of Isaac. It's just a waste of an active slot and is always going to guarantee your run will suck. Or will it? Breath of Life is a quality 1 Angel Deal item, which also is one of those rare and special able to use as many times as you want. Breath of Life, one of Isaac's most controversial items, yet in a sense this item has been considered to be an absolute worst Angel Deal item ever, with some considering placing it at an even lower tier than Lazarus' Rags. Lazarus' Rags, for crying out loud. The item that limits you to one character as a revive and doesn't do anything other than that. For fuck's sake. Anyways, before we start off, I'd like to go over the basics of Breath of Life, and why most people consider it to be a terrible item. Breath of Life is a quality 1 Angel Deal item, which also is one of those rare and special able to use as many times as you want in a room with a small cooldown type items, reminiscent to spend a win. How it works is you hold spacebar, watch the meter go down, and you gain a slight invincibility shield which lasts a very short amount of time. This shield can deal contact damage to enemies as a slight bonus, and also shoots out a beam of angelic light in 4 directions after successfully touching an enemy. Seems pretty great already, right? Well, the problem is the item's trade-off. As if you hold it for longer than the time specified, which is a single second, then you'll proceed to take damage periodically. However, there's a few other things to consider regarding this item. The interactions with Breath of Life is honestly what makes this one of my favorites, as you can easily say goodbye to the days of draining your health in devil beggars, blood donation machines, and curse rooms, and hello to Prophet, as the invincibility will allow you to use each of these as many times as you want, with literally no penalty, unless if you hold it for more than a second. And all that it requires is your patience along with the correct timing, sort of like Tooth and Nail, I guess. You can fire while using this active item, which makes it so if you time it correctly, you can have periodic invincibility every so often if you're too scared to rush in enemies and risk taking damage. And, if you're feeling lucky, you can also try to parry projectiles, which will summon the beam when you time it correctly. Consider using this strat when fighting bosses such as Hush or Mega Satan, as your bullet hell type attacks give many opportunities for you to parry them. Another thing to keep in mind is that you are immune to damage when this item procs. This means that you can be as careless as you want for a second and you will not take any damage for it. Keep this also in mind when pushed into tight spots or corners. And with that, we've talked about everything regarding interactions. So let's move on to my favorite part. 3 other things to note are the synergies with this item as well. So let's go through a basic rundown of them. First off, let's talk about contact items, or items that require Isaac to touch an enemy for them to work. These items personally are best paired with this active as it gives the highest payout. Items in this section are Mom's Heals, which let you deal more contact damage, Virus, which will poison enemies you come in contact with without damaging you. Midas Touch will make Breath of Life enemies drop coins. E. coli will turn enemies into poop upon contact without damage. Ares will allow you to deal more contact damage, and as a bonus will mitigate any contact damage you may come across if you end up messing up the timing of this item. And finally, Serpent's Kiss, which will generate black hearts when you touch enemies, and is genuinely one of the most broken synergies that could come out of this item. The next section is items that are orbitals or anything that requires you to be up close to enemies to work properly. These do not require you to be in contact with enemies, but they do require you to get up close. For the sake of your time and my own sanity, I will be bunching every orbital together as they are pretty much have similar effects. Items in this section include every single orbital, as it allows you to time out your approach better, sometimes blocking shots from enemies while you're charging up the active, or can just help with DPS on much stronger enemies and bosses. 120 Volt, which zaps multiple enemies when you get close, useful for getting an extra damage on enemies outside the beam's range. Dead Tooth, which poisons enemies that you get close to, mainly just for extra DPS. And Monstrance, which deals damage to enemies the closer you are to them. Lastly, I wanted to include items that were outside of the categories that I see fit, and are just their own unique black sheeps. These items can have either small effects, or can impact a few things about how Breath of Life works, or improve it. Items in this section include Voodoo Head, which gives you more curse rooms that you're able to enter for free. Tooth and Nail, which can give you a random shield every so often, that lasts an extremely short amount of time. This just mainly helps in super rare cases, so it's not that useful. Any on-hit effect items, such as Varicose Veins or Piggy Bank, or Vengeful Spirit, as they can give you a reward if you mess up. My Shadow, which spawns a ton of friends from the shadow beneath you whenever you run into something. This could be super good for extra DPS or blocking of projectiles. And finally, the 3 trinkets I managed to scrounge up that I thought could be useful. Vibrant Bulb, which gives you a damage buff whenever you aren't using this active, and Broken Syringe, which can occasionally give you the virus. Another cool synergy that I noted was with Expansion Pack. It'll use a random active whenever you use the item correctly, which can either be good or bad depending on how you see it. Anyways, let's move on to the last section for this video. Ah yes, the conclusion. So, I mainly want to use this section for my defense as to why Breath of Life isn't that bad, and overall just a wrap up and conclusion as to how I see fit. So, I'll start off with my thoughts, and also add in a few other things as well. Personally, in any run I've seen Breath of Life in, I don't seem to feel disappointed. If I have a better active, I usually will just skip it and curse the waste of an angel deal. But for runs where I have no active items, or anything that's going well, I usually take it in a heartbeat, usually using it and abusing the iframes for free curse rooms and money. I've seen this item receive a lot of slack being a waste of a deal, and in some cases I can agree, but only in some cases. For many of those other runs, however, I find it really hard to agree. So, in my personal opinion, the benefits of Breath of Life heavily outweigh the cons, as getting free curse rooms, confessionals, and blood donations, among other things, can heavily influence your runs. Another feature that I really enjoy is also the timed utility of it, as activating the proc at the right time and causing parry is usually a good way to deal with a lot of enemies, and sometimes bosses as well. Overall, I think personally a lot of people kind of shit on this item, and it's not really deserved. There's a lot of really good upsides to it, and I feel like the main hate comes from before the item got buffed, because during its original development, literally everybody hated the item. Except for me. I kind of enjoyed the item actually still. For another segment, I wanted to talk about the changes that I would put onto this item, if it were to be changed. Now, I don't mean to change the item entirely, I'm just talking about a few extra things that could possibly make the item better, and overall, for this idea, I was thinking they can add an additional charge bar, and maybe also a timed queue as well, that would show you when the proc activates. This would help players identify how the item works, as well as experiment a bit with it as well. I believe what would help is if it works similarly to how Tooth and Nail works, giving you a bit of a warning and a flash before the item would proc. I believe this would also help new players understand how the item works, as those who have picked up Tooth and Nail previously would understand how Breath of Life works because of it. Alright, so, the finale. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know how to end this video, but I will say this. Breath of Life is a good item, guarantees free curse rooms, and in general, there's a reason why it's one of my favorite angel deal items in the game. But, yeah. Anyways, I don't really have an outro, so enjoy the montage bit I did with a friend. Yo, I need you to do a quick, cover for background song for me, and then, that should be it.
Yeah, sure. I guess I can see what I can do. She gave me money when I'm in need. Yeah, she's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger, and I gotta leave. She gave me money when I'm in need. She gave me money when I'm in need. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. Yeah, she gave me money when I'm in need. She gave me money when I'm in need. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. Yeah, she gave me money when I'm in need. She gave me money when I'm in need. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. I gotta leave. Yeah, she gave me money when I'm in need. She gave me money. Fuck. When I'm in need.